Is 2024 the year for Star Citizen? Is it the Watershed year? Star Citizen has a rough plan of what's coming in 2024 now. There are still a load of scheduling meetings going on in January that will sort of decide exactly what's going on, and loads more minor and major features as well. But Jared Huckabee, the creative content lead at Cloud Imperium, otherwise known as Disco Lando, has described 2024 as the watershed year for Star Citizen. The watershed meaning the sort of turning point or a moment of significant importance. We have had this all before, multiple times, with the road to 4.0 and server meshing and a million other features. But this truly appears to be the case with 2024 because of Squadron 42 being feature complete, because of a load of the main and core tech now coming online with Star Citizen, a load of additional teams being deployed to the persistent universe, enabling more resources for Star Citizen to actually grow. Things like server meshing, Alpha 4.0, Pyro, new combat mechanics, tons and tons of stuff. Now, we've heard lofty promises of Star Citizen development many times, and I want to dig into what Cloud Imperium have got planned for the first half of 2024, that they talked about in a recent Inside Star Citizen, and then throughout the rest of the year beyond that as well. So what's roughly planned for the first half of 2024? Master modes. This is a collection of features, really, or at least lots of other features bundled in with it. So for ships, this is new targeting, flight balance, ship archetypes, and new modes of flight. So the biggest change here is nav versus SCM modes. When you're in your ship, in nav mode, you can quantum jump and quantum boost, go above your SCM speeds, basically cruising speed, but you don't have access to your weapons or shields. You can't fight. In SCM mode, you have access to your weapons, other systems and shields, but you can't go into quantum travel. You can't go above your SCM speed, so you're very limited, and you have to make basically a conscious decision to engage or to run. These master modes may come out in a staggered fashion, so some ships first. It's going to be based on how development goes, but you can test them with the Gladius, Vanguard, the Super Hornet, and Buccaneer in various 3.22 experimental modes now, and your feedback is going to be vitally important when it comes to balancing and evolving those master modes. But yeah, it's a load of other stuff as well. It's targeting improvements, it's the cockpit experience, it's the general feel of flight and combat. I'm not sure if atmospheric flight updates are being bundled in with master modes or not, but whatever, we should see the atmospheric flight model update at some point over the next 12 months, so some point in 2024 as well, if not just bundled in with master modes. Another major feature coming within the next 6 months, or at least that's the plan, persistent hangars and freight elevators. So these are basically going to allow you to customize your hangar a bit more than before and make it easier for you to manage your ships and plan missions. You can customize your ships, prepare your loadouts, but you'll have these freight elevators that allow you to call up items and inventory and all that sort of stuff, and then literally it will come up in an elevator, or you can put stuff into the elevator to store it and then put it into the landing zone storage. So it provides a gateway between ships, vehicles, cargo, and the landing zone, and you can do this via a kiosk. You can call up vehicles in the elevator and then load them onto a ship. You can unload cargo from your ship and put it into the elevator, store it, and then sell it. This will make times to load and unload with cargo more important and part of the game, and will herald in new cargo careers. Planning how you actually load your ship is going to be vitally important, and certain tools are going to be available to you, from the tractor beams to the larger tractor beams, and obviously ship scale tractor beams. Not sure if they're going to be bringing the ability to pay for ships to be loaded and unloaded at this stage sort of automatically. But whatever, the actual sort of persistent hangars and freight elevator stuff allows you to do that manual loading and has a level of customization or persistence for your hangars. They aren't going to be fully physicalized addressed hangars or anything like that. You are going to basically get a hangar given to you when you come to land, and then when you close the doors off on that hangar, it's effectively going to put you somewhere else. You're going to kind of be an instantized hangar, and when you open the doors again, it will put you back in a more physicalized location. FPS combat updates are being put in, so we're going to see updates to animations, reloading, they're adding misfires, wear to weapons, new scopes are being added, the dynamic crosshairs, there's going to be charge and drain for energy weapons and batteries. This along with some plans for character feature updates, so you've got EVA getting fuel for suits, so you can sort of have little mini jetpacks effectively when you're in space. But if you run out of fuel, well, that might be a problem. There's going to be push and pull mechanics, so you can pull yourself around on objects. There are visor updates. There are going to be new loot screens. There's a big overhaul of the item and personal interaction system. Much more intuitive, much more interesting to look around areas and interact with objects. We saw things like doing little mini scans and that sort of stuff at CitizenCon as well. Not sure if that's going to be bundled in with this in the first 6 months or if it's going to be something we see later in the year. There are mobiGlas updates, bringing it closer to the features and some of the look of the Squadron 42 one, although that is a military one in Squadron 42 and we're not supposed to have military ones in this sort of persistent universe, or at least not immediately. They're working on new applications for the mobiGlas for shopping and missions. I believe sort of updating the reputation app as well. There are new character customizations that are coming in, but also a new interface with this as well. So you're going to have a proper character customizer. It's going to be much more flexible with the customization of your character, being able to do a lot more with it. But they're also adding tattoos, piercings, scars, beards, things like that, and more hair. And you'll see much more variety in NPCs around the verse as they make use of this as well. Distribution centers. So these are pretty cool. They are mini major landing zones, so they're sort of like these landing zones that can appear multiple times all over different planets and moons, and they have a huge amount of gameplay associated with them, from shops and missions and lots and lots of socializing to be done on them. But yeah, a big mission hub is a good way of describing them. But we also saw things at CitizenCon like raids that are going to be there, where you can have these high-risk, high-reward sort of assaults on these centers, where you will be literally stealing items from them or data or whatever, and potentially other players can come and try and stop you. But those distribution centers are going to be chock full of content, and it's going to be based on what their owning company is. Is it the UEE? If it is, then they're probably going to have military missions associated with there, and it might be sort of like a depot for refueling, rearming, and all that sort of jazz. But it might be Greycat owns it, and then it might be focused on mining and industry. Potentially, the most hype for the first half of the year for me is the massive star map overhaul they've got planned, making it actually functional, easy to use, look much better. It adds a whole host of navigation and filtering additions, but just a star map that we can use, share data on. It's sort of part minimap as well, so the minimap is integrated with the star map. You can roll in and out all the way down into your ship and see the sort of your ship or the landing zone you're at, but also wheel all the way up and then set your destination. Bam, easily find out where you are, where you're going, and not have to click 1,000 times to get where you want to get. I'm expecting these features to be split probably between a 3.23 and 3.24 patch in 2024, so end of March and end of June. Cloud Imperium did also say there were going to be 6 or more new or updated ships and vehicles for the first half of 2024. So we know some of the planned vehicles for the next 12 months or so, and that being the Polaris, the Zeus Mark II, some new hoverbikes, the Urza Rover variant, a Argo MPU variant, some new alien ship, the Legionnaire, the Retaliator variant of some description. So some of those potentially going to be in the first half of 2024, the rest probably in the latter half. Also, CIG have said that for summer 2024 that they are planning Alpha 4.0's release. So this is the current plan. The window for summer roughly is the end of June to the end of September. I'm expecting them to be targeting this at the end of September. What does 4.0 actually entail? Well, that's some form of static server meshing, pyro, jump points, new planets, new moons, space stations, missions, and general sort of pyro lifestyle. So the NPCs there, all the associated gameplay we saw in the Pyro Playground sort of heftily improved and expanded. Beyond that, CIG are working on other features that are coming at some point in 2024, be that in the first half of the year, be that in the latter half. Some of this is just general sort of quality of life and player experience, work on HUDs and MFDs to make them look and feel better, work on general combat and balance, all that sort of jazz, but also things like hacking. They've been working on this, I think, pipe-based hacking mini game that appears in your HUD or visor or whatever. That will be used in lots of missions, but also as a general mechanic. There's the resource management system and engineering. So this is a load of gameplay. Resource management, the circuitry of ships. It's basically what's going on there. Physicalized components. Ships have resources that move between the systems, and ship systems need to be powered, but you also have things like the gravity systems on a ship, or life support actually generating oxygen, scrubbing out the carbon dioxide. Ship systems will be able to be targetable, and if you take them out, that's how ships are going to be disabled and destroyed in the future. It's not going to be artificial health pools. There is going to be potential strain and stress on hulls, and ships will be able to break apart with the Maelstrom system, which is something that hopefully, again, we will see in 2024. But most of the time, it's going to be the destruction of ship systems, making a ship disabled, destroyed, or whatever. Engineering gameplay is associated with this, which is going to be coming again next year at some point, and that is going to have you being able to repair items and relays. There are going to be these power relays, like fuse boxes, which need repair and replacement. You're going to be able to replace subcomponents on some of these systems. You're going to be able to swap them out for new ones. You're going to be putting out fires. Fires spread, they damage things, they can cause a lot of damage on your ship and take away oxygen, valuable oxygen. And you also have this engineering screen where you can vent rooms, or you can see how damaged components are, sort of see the circuitry of your ship. And that's effectively a full-on roll aboard a ship, especially larger ones. Quantum Travel 2.0 is something else that I'm really excited for. So there are new quantum travel mechanics and effects that CIG have been working on. The biggest difference, other than the visuals, is the ability to do short-range quantum boosts. But also, if you're doing a short-range quantum boost, or if you're doing a longer-range proper quantum travel, when you're accelerating, you actually have to actively control your ship and keep it within the quantum tunnel. Otherwise, you can cause damage to your ship, it will spin you out, it will cause most likely damage to your quantum drive and make you quite vulnerable. But after a few seconds, you can go hands off. So it's only the sort of acceleration that you need to control, and then once you're actually in quantum properly, you don't need to constantly keep yourself within the quantum tunnel. But that's a real big difference, and once you combine that with things like master modes and loads of new updates, it's big changes. And there's even more. So obviously I've talked about Maelstrom, which is sort of ship and structure breakability stuff and having that all destroyable in an interesting way. There are animals with the space whales and cows, but we know that Cloud Imperium are working on a load more, including boids, which are things like birds and fish and insects. There are a ton of engine updates as well that they plan to integrate in the game, including sort of updated clouds, Vulcan, updated lighting, the water sim stuff, temporal upscaling, Starcloth, which is the sort of less pendulum and more dynamic moving cloth and material system. There are things like control surfaces and the atmospheric flight updates, but there's also base building that Cloud Imperium have shown off, which again they said they plan to have in our hands within the next 12 months. They said that at CitizenCon, but I would expect that towards the end of 2024 if it is sort of actually going to make it that year. They've talked about it being available from effectively by hand using survey tools, you're being able to base build, and there's going to be different levels of or different sizes of structure that you can build by hand in a vehicle, in ships, so different sort of sizes of ship, including the Galaxy having a building module, and then you'd have all the way up to the Pioneer, which will sort of be the largest scale of mobile base building that you'll have. You'll need blueprints, you'll need the materials, and then you'll be able to build loads of different types of facility, from sort of farms to research to general military bases. You'll be able to fabricate ships and lots of other stuff as well, all the way up to ships. So that should include ammo, but also weapons and items. But that's not all for 2024. You can expect a ton more. We just don't know what it's going to be yet, because they haven't had all their scheduling and planning meetings, which are taking place in January, and we'll see what they can fit in. Star Citizen is in the best state it's ever been in, and there's a load of devs and sort of teams coming to work on it and get the persistent universe into a great state. Could we see a Squadron 42 release in 2024? Maybe. We don't know. Could we see Star Citizen get a ton of great features like we discussed and more in 2024? Hopefully so. We don't know if it's going to be the best year or the Watershed year yet, but it looks likely, That's the plan on paper anyway. I am really interested to know though what you think. Do you think we're going to see all of those features and more? What features do you think we will see? What don't you think we'll see? Are they going to make the summer date, which I suppose is by the end of September, for Alpha 4.0? Was there a particular feature you were hoping that Cloud Imperium already had planned in the first half of 2024 that hasn't been discussed yet? Do you think we're going to see a release date for Squadron 42 in 2024? Whatever your thoughts or questions, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Ho ho ho, it's me, Father Nordmus. That's right, it's that time again to see who's on my naughty list for who doesn't have a VPN.
No, that's Northern Claws!
Grass from Northern Claws, Timmy. You should be scared of not having a VPN. As you know, Father Nordmus punishes all that disobey him. It's the perfect Nordmus present, Timmy. There's no excuse. I can see all of your website history, and I'm going to sell all of your data, Tim.
NordVPN helps protect your online activity, gives you greater accessibility to the content you want by changing your location, and much, much more. Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer before Das Northern Claws finds you. Every month we have a Star Citizenship giveaway. For December, we are giving away a Drake Corsair. It's the winner of the 2953 Ship Showdown and one of the stars of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. This fantastic multi-role, multi-crew, long-range mission runner can do a bit of everything in-game, and it has a penchant for exploration. Just comment on any of my videos during December to be in for a chance of winning that. There are further details in the description below. A big thank you to everyone that goes the extra mile in supporting the channel via Patreon or the join button under my videos and becoming a channel member. It will net you some exclusive content from Zin and I, but also it really does help us to be able to create daily Star Citizen content, as does sharing these videos and commenting. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the verse.